Hi, my dear Astro family. Firstly, thank you very much because you guys responded very well to the video I made recently about the 13 indication of someone who would live abroad. And you actually guys asked me to do more videos about relocation as well as I'm guessing a little bit of an education, simple videos where you can check your constellations and then you can determine something without booking an astrologer. So I'm very grateful for that, and I hope you will enjoy this video as well. And if you do so, please press like and then subscribe to the channel so that I can make further contents. And even you can give me ideas what you want to make or hear about a short video, and I can actually prepare those. Not a problem. Now, I would like to announce that I'm still running the relocation course. If you are interested in that, it's never too late to join. But also, I do have a 30% discount on all my personal readings, as well as 40% discount on almost all of my courses and webinars. I call it as the back to school promotion because the school season is starting. Probably we're going to have a little bit of a time to actually study astrology. Hopefully, you have a little bit more time so that you might be able to change your life like plenty people did with the help of astrology, including myself as well. But anyway, today I wanted to make a short video, a little bit educational, with educational purposes, about the indications that you will marry a foreign partner. So I've collected approximately about 13 positions. Please do let me know how many points you have. The more you have, the more indicative of you getting married to a foreigner. Number one, oh, and this listing is not going to be in particular order. So number one is not going to be the most important, and number 13 is not going to be the least important. Now, you guys did ask me actually about, what if I only have got one? Is that not strong enough? Sometimes it might be the most kind of like potential or influential planetary energy you have, such as the closest aspect, for instance, or that planet is too close to the angles and all those type of things. So sometimes one indication is enough also. But the more we have, the more indicative, for instance, in this matter, that you're going to marry a foreigner. Now, you might be meeting, for instance, that person, for instance, I don't know, in India or France, or you might be meeting that person at the location where you were born. They just have a different cultural background overall. And this is what I've kind of collected in short points. So number one indication would be that the North Node is in your seventh or the eighth house. Now, probably you guys are wondering, oh, Victor, eighth house, really? Yes, the eighth house does connect to marriage, especially the period of time after we got married, when we kind of became comfortable with each other. It's not necessarily about love anymore. We just live together, we respect each other, we trust each other, that type of period of the marriage. So the eighth house has got loads to do actually with marriage. Also, the eighth house can actually show whether we tend to be going for the bad guys or the good guys. Because it's an in conjunction towards our rising sign, which could show irritants or frustration that I keep going for the wrong person, and so forth. So if you have got North Node in the seventh or the eighth house, that could indicate that you are going to get married to a foreigner. Why is that? North Node is kind of like an alienated energy, not in a bad sense though, okay? But it does talk about kind of like foreign matters, that we're going to have to open up our horizon. We're going to have to learn something through our partnerships. Another indication, number two, when North Node conjuncts Venus or Jupiter. Now, North Node is the learning curve of our chart. And when it connects to Venus, we're going to have to learn quite a lot about love. When it connects to Jupiter, which is, by the way, a husband archetype, he was the husband of Juno. whether the story is interesting or not, but Jupiter was quite unfaithful and so forth. But actually, Juno decided to dedicate her life to kind of save this marriage. But it kind of indicates, especially in a female's chart, when North Node is connecting to a Jupiter, that you have got things to do with a foreign husband. But that could be true also for a male as well. But what really happens here is that we're going to have to learn about foreign cultures. We're going to have to experience cultural differences. So that's why it can actually indicate a marriage to a foreign partner. Number three, when the lord of your seventh house, so basically the ruler of your seventh house, is actually in Sagittarius or Pisces. Sagittarius and Pisces are mostly connected to foreign fields. I did explain that in the other video, but Sagittarius is something traveling over dry lands, and Pisces would be traveling over seas and oceans. So Pisces is something to do with the faraway places. Sagittarius is not necessarily that far, okay? So it's very hard to determine, like how many hours does it mean that, it's a Piscean energy? Maybe, if we travel more than 10 hours in a plane, that's going to be a Piscean energy. And less than that, maybe it's just a Sagittarius energy. But, it's kind of like a silly rule I just made up. So, it's very hard to determine. So it's more about whether you travel over lands, dry lands, or whether you're going to travel overseas. Next one is number 4. If you have got Sagittarius or Pisces on your 7th house cusp. I'm not going to explain too much on that. The explanation is similar. We do need to be learning about foreign cultures a little bit. Number 5, when you have got the lord of the 7th house in the 9th house or the 3rd house. Now, 9th house is something to do with foreign matters. Most of you probably know that. The 3rd house is the 9th from the 7th. So that could actually indicate that the partner is from a foreign land. That would be the explanation behind. But anyway, when we are talking about astrology, we always need to be looking at polarities, meaning that if something gets triggered in the 3rd house, the 9th house is also involved somehow, because they are pairs and they have to work together to make the most out of that combination. Number 6, if Jupiter is actually in conjunction to the lord of your 7th house. So imagine, I'll give you an example on that. I do have got Mercury as the ruler of my 7th house, and it's in the sign of Capricorn, and my Jupiter is actually in the sign of Sagittarius, so nothing to do with them. But by Antisha, which is acting like a conjunction, actually, they are conjuncting. If you do not know what Antisha and contra Antisha means, I kind of recommend looking at a video I made sometime last year, and I also have got that available on a webinar, which is about 3.5 hours, and I really explain how to work with Antisha there. Basically, Antisha is something to do with secret desire. So it could show that my secret desire is to be with a foreign partner. Number 7 is if Jupiter actually conjuncts the 7th house or the 8th house cusp. Very similarly to North Node, we tend to actually describe the North Node as a Jupiterian energy because it has got something to do with learning, expanding the horizon, and foreign matters. They have got something similar between them two. And we tend to describe the South Node as the Saturnian energy. I don't completely agree with the fact that, this is actually completely true, but we can find similarities between them too, surely. So if we have got Jupiter in the 7th house or the 8th house, in the 7th house definitely talks about that we're going to have to learn to grow up to relationship matters. We're going to have to be open-minded. We're going to have to actually maybe go to a foreign field to meet someone. We have to actually shift our mind when it comes to relationship, and we're going to have to learn to be a little bit more ourselves in the relationship rather than kind of getting lost within marriage. And in the Jupiter in the eighth house, which would be number 8, really, it would really talk about that we're going to have to learn to trust. We're going to have to let go of our fears when it comes to getting married, being in partnership, or, for instance, that I'm going to get cheated on and all those type of things. Because with Jupiter, there is always something to let go so that we can grow further. Those two qualities don't exist without each other. Growth indicates that there is something to sacrifice as well at the same time. Number 9, if Jupiter is actually having a tight aspect to your Venus. Now, a Venus and Jupiter aspect, very briefly, would indicate that my desire is to meet an exotic partner, for instance. And then when you have got the desire, we just need action to that, and then we can actually be with someone like that. So there could be a strong desire to go to foreign countries, to meet someone there, and to settle down with someone. Number 10, I think we are on, is going to be Juno in the 9th house. Now, that's I do love working with Juno quite a lot because it does indicate about soul contracts two people actually are making. But also, it does talk about who would be our perfect match. And, when you would be able to walk through fire for that person because you really feel a strong connection. This is kind of like a karmic relationship indication, what Juno represents. And in the 9th house, which is about foreign matters again, legalizing a partnership, because 9th house is also legalities. It could really kind of talk about a soul contract between two people with a foreigner because we have to accomplish something together. Number 11 is when you have got the Lord of your 7th house in conjunction to Juno, especially in Sagittarius or 9th house or Pisces or the 3rd house. That could be a powerful connection towards getting married to someone abroad. Juno in the 12th house also can indicate that I'm going to be leaving all of my issues in the current country, because sometimes what happens with Juno in the 12th house that it doesn't feel that it fits the society, or it doesn't fit that, oh, this person likes me, or no one really likes me in this country. I'm luckier abroad. It's easier for me to attract people. So they tend to be relocating, and actually it becomes easier for them to meet someone. I do have got Juno, for instance, in the 12th house, and I always felt like that anyway. Also, let me just mention, it could also be an indication, especially for females, that Juno is in conjunction to Sun. That could, especially in the 12th or the 9th house, that could be an indication of getting married to a foreigner. Now, all of the number 12, I think we are on, is when all of these planets, such as Venus, Jupiter, or the North Node, are also connected to the 4th house. Because the 4th house is something to do, 4th house or the 10th house, by the way, because the 4th and the 10th house are connected to the family life. Okay? And then you tie together your family life with a foreigner. Okay? So that could be a powerful indication also. And last but not least, number 13 is if the Lord of the 1st house and the Lord of the 7th house are in conjunction in the 9th, 12th, or 3rd house, even possible in the 6th house too. Why? Because the 6th house is the 12th from the 7th. Okay, so in many cases, that could actually indicate that I meet the person where I was born, they just have got a different cultural background, because they are very far away from kind of like their home countries, which would be represented by the 7th house. So these are the 13 indication of you getting married to a foreign partner. Let me know how many you have, how many points you have. Would you add anything else? Because this is not the ultimate list. We can add bits and bobs to it surely.